Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Adamoose, and today we're going to be continuing our series called In Depth. This video is going to be an in-depth guide on Gragas Jungle. In this series, we'll be going over what's the difference between an average Gragas player and a great one. Gragas is one of those champs who seems very easy at first, but requires a ton of games played to fully understand his kit and how to play him at a high level. If you do enjoy this video, it would really help me out if you could leave a like on this video and subscribe to my channel. I'll be uploading an in-depth guide every Wednesday, so hit the notification bell to stay up to date with my posts. Hope you guys can learn something. Enjoy the video. Abilities. First things first, let's talk about Gragas' abilities and how to successfully use his kit. Gragas' passive is called Happy Hour. Simply put, Gragas periodically heals when using an ability. This is the core of why Gragas has great sustain not only in the jungle, but also in fights. Making use of your passive on cooldown is extremely important to ensure you're not low while clearing your jungle or getting too low in combat. Gragas' Q is called Barrel Roll. This is your go-to DPS spell. Keep in mind that your Q damage and slow amount increases as your cask ferments. While clearing your jungle, you want to ensure that your Q ferments to give you faster clear speeds. This also applies in team fights, where you can place your Q in creative spots so that it deals huge damage to multiple targets. Using your barrel roll early in combos is extremely important so that you can deal max damage. Gragas' W is called Drunken Rage. This is my personal favorite ability. You guzzle down your beer and empower your next auto attack. After taking a drink, you also gain damage reduction for a couple seconds. This allows you to tank up a bit before engaging into the enemy. It is very important to not only make use of the extra damage, but also the damage reduction that your W gives. Gragas' E is called Body Slam. Yeah, you pretty much just charge forward and body slam your target, knocking them back a bit. Keep in mind that your body slam is a skill shot. If you miss, you'll be wishing that you never went in. If you hit a target with your E, the cooldown will be reduced. Remember that your body slam also hits minions, so if the enemy is sitting in a minion wave, be sure that you don't waste your knockup just hitting minions. In the combo section, we'll discuss how to make this ability seem like it's an unavoidable engage. Gragas' R is called Explosive Cask. You toss a massive cask that deals a ton of AoE damage and pushes enemies away from the explosion. This can be used as a long-range engage, pushing enemies towards your team, or even used as a peel to disengage. This is just a very versatile ability with an extremely long range. One good multi-man ult can instantly win a team fight for your team. Combos. Now let's talk about Gragas' most important combos. Using these in your games can lead to some insane highlight moments and some clutch teamfight wins. EQ and E Flash. These are your bread and butter, basic combos. EQ is a combo you'll be using non-stop. You could cancel the throwing animation of your Q by using your body slam first. This way your barrel will technically do more damage since it actually has some extra time to ferment. E-Flash is the most important combo for Gragas and is, in my opinion, the best part about Gragas' entire kit. You can increase the range of your body slam by flashing right before the animation ends. You can also flash in different directions than the way that you use your E to really catch the enemy slipping. ER Flash. ER Flash is the best way to make instant picks, adding in your ultimate to your already deadly E Flash combo. This way, you not only catch the enemy off guard, but then knock them back into your team and instantly delete them. WEQR Auto Q. This is technically the highest DPS combo that you can use. If you want to burst a target down and don't have flash, this is how you output the most possible damage in one rotation. WEQ Flash, Q Auto. This combo is used for dealing maximum damage with flash, but with no ultimate. Make sure to charge up your W right before using EQ Flash to also slam the enemy with your Empower Auto attack right at the end of your combo. QRQ and QREQ. These two combos have led to some really insane Gragas montages. If you can place your Q in an intelligent spot, you can use your ultimate to toss enemies into your barrel that's fully charged up. People really underestimate how much damage a charged up barrel can do. Lastly, you can also combo in your body slam to make sure that flying enemies are knocked right into your Q. Runes. Now that we've gone over abilities and combos, let's talk runes. Although lane Gragas has multiple solid options for runes, Predator is just way too good for Gragas Jungle. Once you get boots, it makes your ganks extremely dangerous. You're able to close the distance with your move speed, and then follow the enemy's flash or dash with your E to punish overextended laners. Sudden Impact is the next best option since it will proc every time that you use your E. This will grant you bonus magic pen when you dash in and unleash your full combo on the enemy. For the next option, it's really up to your preference. I would recommend Eyeball Collection in lower elos since it's the easiest to stack up, but in high elo you can also take Zombie Ward for extra vision control. The last row is where it gets a bit complicated. First, let's talk about my personal favorites, Ravenous and Ingenious Hunter. Ravenous Hunter is just for super sustain. I like it since it allows you to basically stay on the map until you run out of mana. Ravenous Hunter in combination with your passive is basically infinite heals. Ingenious Hunter is my second favorite option since it lowers not only your Predator cooldown, but also your Zhonya's. We'll discuss Zhonya's later, but I almost always buy it. This rune just gives you a lot more options since your active items will almost always be up. Being able to do more Predator ganks or even forcing more fights, having your Zhonya's ready to go. The last viable option would be Relentless Hunter. Now just because it's not my favorite does not mean it's bad. I do still think that if you like the extra move speed, you can for sure make it work. Just keep in mind that once you get good at using your Predator cooldown, Ingenious Hunter could be a better choice. Secondary is where there are a ton of options, so I'll talk about the top two. First, let's talk about my favorite again, Inspiration. The two runes you take in this tree are pretty much always Perfect Timing and Cosmic Insight. Perfect Timing is really underrated on Gragas since you basically always build Zhonya's as I mentioned earlier. This not only gives you one free item active, but also makes your build cheaper, just an all around great option. Cosmic Insight also gives you an insane amount of benefits. Cooldown reduction is amazing on Gragas. CDR allows you to clear faster, heal more often from your passive, have 5% more max CDR, and also reduces your Zhonya's plus Predator cooldowns. If you guys know me, you know I'm pretty much just an Inspiration Tree salesman at this point. Sorcery Secondary with Celerity and Water Walking is also a very popular choice among Gragas players. This tree just gives you a ton of move speed and allows you to control the pace of the game very well. Lastly, I usually run with the Attack Speed, Adaptive Force, and Armor setup. Double Adaptive Force is also very good, it is just really based on your preference. Items. Now let's talk about item choices. On Gragas, you always want to start Hunter's Talisman. The reason for this is because early on, you usually want to clear out your AoE camps to get early respawn timers. I'll discuss this more in detail in the jungle clears section. Blue Smite into Runic Echoes is the go-to choice for jungle item, since it gives you the most assassination potential. At the end of the day, Gragas is basically just an AP assassin. Red Smite is also viable into teams with a lot of melee bruisers, such as Olaf and Volibear, but keep in mind that most games you're going to want to pick up Blue Smite. You almost always want to pick up boots on your first back since your main ganking tool is your Predator. Now that you have Runic Echoes and boots, you have multiple item options depending on what the game state looks like. If you're ahead, you definitely want to pick up a Dark Seal since you can easily end up with a 25 stack Magi if you snowball correctly. Oblivion Orb plus Sorc Shoes is a great magic penetration combo for maximum damage in the early to mid game. For other boot options, you can also pick up Ionian Boots of Lucidity for some CDR, Merc Treads for extra tenacity, or even Ninja Tabbies versus heavy auto attack based teams. Zhonya's, Liandry's, and Morello's are all good options to beef up a bit, but also continue building to one-shot the enemies. Although Gragas is an AP assassin, your W does make you quite tanky, especially if you stack some resistances with HP. To close out your build, you want to be looking to pick up the following items depending on the situation. Deathcap for max damage, Void Staff versus heavy magic resist teams, Lichbane if you really just need a one-shot one specific target, Protobelt for an extra gap closer, Morello's for anti-heal, and Liandry's for burn damage against high HP targets. There are even certain situations where building tank items such as Spirit Visage and Iceborne Gauntlet can be very strong. Keep in mind that building items with CDR early is ideal, since Gragas is very reliant on his cooldowns to succeed. Jungle pathing. First, Let's talk about the most standard path that I see most pro players and challenger MMR Gragas players use. Starting on your red with a leash, you clear your raptors, wolves, and then blue, leaving you on the opposite side of the map of where you started. This path allows you to hit level 3 with a high amount of HP, on time to contest the first scuttle grab. This is really one of the best paths that you can do on Gragas if you're looking for something extremely consistent. Keep in mind that this path is very flexible. You can also clear Krugs before recalling in some scenarios, so that both your red side camps will respawn at a higher level. Clearing your Gromp takes extremely long, so I usually avoid Gromp early. The reason I don't recommend a really aggressive path on your first clear is because technically you don't have a keystone until you back and buy your Predator boots. If you can get to this point without being behind the enemy jungler, you're in a really good spot. This path can be done on both sides of the map. Just start where your bot lane is to get the best possible leash. Secondly, let's talk about the red side clear into recall path. This is a really interesting one where you clear your red, Krugs, and Raptors, then instantly recall. This allows you to not only put your red side camps on very quick respawn timers, but it also lets you get back and buy Predator boots before clearing your blue side. This opens up surprise picks since the enemies will definitely not expect you to have Predator boots so early on. It's even better if you can do this path and end up on the opposite side of the enemy jungler, allowing you to get one scuttle as well. When clearing your jungle on Gragas, you want to make use of your passive on cooldown, keeping you topped up on HP. In the early game, you also want to make use of your Hunter's Talisman heal while killing your Raptors, Wolves, and Krugs. Kiting the camps while your spells are on cooldown will actually heal you up with the Talisman passive. Weaknesses. Although I love Gragas and think that he's a great champion to pick up for any player, understanding what Gragas struggles at is very important to learn so that you can succeed on the champion. Gragas' biggest weakness is just how unforgiving he is when you make mistakes. Since Gragas relies heavily on landing your body slam, ever making a mistake will leave you a sitting duck in the middle of the enemy team. You also have to make use of your Predator and Zhonya's item actives if you really want to use the full potential of your kit. Although Gragas looks really simple, Gragas is actually one of the hardest champs to consistently perform well on since it's very easy to make mistakes. Another weakness is that Gragas does run Predator, which leaves you a bit weak compared to other meta junglers in the first couple levels. Yes, Predator is amazing on Gragas, but that still leaves you very vulnerable in the early game. A good Gragas player will keep track of where the enemy jungler is pathing to avoid any 1v1 fights. You definitely do not want to fight an Olaf with Conqueror before you have any items under your belt. Strengths. Gragas is overall just an amazing engage for your team. I like to pick Gragas when my team is low on reliable engage. A good E-Flash can instantly turn a game on its head. Your ultimate is also just such a unique ability that can be extremely overpowered if used in the right way. The beauty about Gragas is that you can easily 1v9 a fight if you land your spells correctly. Secondly, Gragas' W and passive make him innately tanky without building much defense. This lets you build full damage, but also provide a bit of tankiness to your team. This really helps when your team is behind and you need to fight for vision control or objectives. While other assassin junglers can deal more upfront damage, Gragas' tankiness and sustain lets him stay in the fight for longer, getting multiple spell rotations off. Lastly, Gragas just seems to be one of those champs that is relevant in every meta. No, he's not going to be on every single S+ tier list that people make, but year after year Gragas is played and is usually a key pick in pro play. That will do it for my in-depth guide on Gragas Jungle. If you stayed to the end and have any questions or opinions, be sure to leave them in the comments below. If you did enjoy, it helps me out so much if you could like the video and subscribe to my channel. Hit the notification bell if you want to stay up to date with my posts. I post gameplay videos pretty much daily, and I'll be posting an in-depth guide every Wednesday. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Peace out.